Hey everyone, welcome to the Bitcoin video today. It is July 2nd, 2020. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And what I want to do is I want to take a look at Bitcoin. I want to take a look at things that are not necessarily based on Elliott wave analysis, which is what I typically tend to focus on. I want to take a look mostly at daily candles and some moving averages. So going to be looking at it from a little different perspective, just trying to, kind of confirm my bias using a method that's not Elliott wave. I want to just take a look at the structure of the price action and see if this is, intuitive, if this matches what I think is going to be happening here. So before I get into any of this, of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You are responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I am just giving my opinion on the market. So I want to go ahead and move into the charts here. I have outlined a couple things here. I have a special moving average, as you can see, this red and green one that kind of flips. If the candle closes above it, it turns green. If it turns below it, it turns red. On a daily time frame, this is pretty important. This green and red moving average. We've been trading below it ever since we had that drop off on June 24th. We had a pretty significant move down after we had rejection from 9,800. Back here on the 22nd, we got as high as 97.92, didn't quite hit 9,800. But as I have been kind of explaining, I'm just going to kind of put this here just to outline what I've been saying for a while. So we've got resistance there. We've got resistance here, which is pretty much in line with the top of our range. And then we've also got resistance right here as well. And that's again at 97.92. We'll call it 9,800 just to be even Steven. So those are three levels we have to pay attention to. What I've outlined here though is not necessarily we're creating lower high after lower high after lower high, but we've got this little range that we're currently trading inside of. So let's just focus on this. Basically, I've got this narrowed down to $10,000, and then down here at 85, 85.50, I believe is where I have this tagged at. So 85.50 and 10,000, that's our range. Our median, of course, is right in the middle, which is at about 92.50. All right, and as you guys all know, 92.50, we've got so much confluence of support and resistance flips, right? So we had our resistance here, we've got support over here, we've got resistance right here, we've got, more support over here, even, way more support over here. So tons and tons of support. And historically, when we flip that, we have resistance. Okay, so right now we're still trading below the 21 exponential moving average. Okay, that's our yellow moving average right here. We started trading below it all the way back here. We tried to break up above, and then we had a rejection. So we're currently trading below our equilibrium of this channel, or rather this range. It's not necessarily a channel. So again, our median is right here. We talked about the support and resistance flips. We have our major resistance up here at the top of our range. We had a little bit of resistance there. We had some front running over here. We punched through and we had an automatic spring to reject that down exactly to the median. And if you were on BitMEX, if you pulled up this chart on BitMEX, you know that this thing went all the way down to the bottom of the range. It went all the way down to like 8,600 or something like that. It's something crazy. That's one of the reasons why I'm looking at the chart on Coinbase and not on BitMEX, because if I'm looking at a daily, that candle looks absolutely atrocious, and I didn't want any system overload to completely just ruin the way that I'm analyzing this chart. So spot exchange, this is good. We did attempt to close below the 55 exponential. We haven't quite done that yet. We're finding a little bit of support. As you can see, we're squeezing pretty darn hard here. We've got the 21 exponential and the 55 exponential that are just closing in on each other. Now, this price eventually is going to move up or down and out of this range. It's going to move either above the 21 exponential or below the 55 exponential. If we start closing below the 55 exponential, then we do have a greater chance of this 21 exponential crossing down while that 55 is just kind of moving sideways. So we're going to have a little bit of a bearish cross there. I'd like to see that. But speaking about this range, right? We're obviously getting close here. We're getting close to there being a big decision being made, and right now that bias is bearish in my opinion because we're closing below the 21 exponential. We are currently at the equilibrium, right? So I bet if I put a volume profile on this, we would see a decent amount of volume here, here in this range, maybe just slightly above us, because we have historically spent a lot of time in the upper half of this range. So we have all of this time that was spent above the range, all of this time that was spent above the range, and really in the bottom of the range we flew down, we flew up, we came down, we went up. Now we're going down and we're coming back up. So again, from a bullish perspective, we went way deep and went back up to the top of this range. We went shallower and we went back up to the top of this range. Now we've gone even shallower, and we haven't moved up into this range yet. But if we do start actively trading above the 21 exponential on the daily, above 92.65, above 9300, that for me is a sign of strength for bulls. Okay. Now, if I'm looking at a higher time frame, or not time frame, but just kind of moving out and looking at more data, you can see that we were down near the bottom. Our RSI went all the way down to 16 on the daily. We did see a lower price, but we had a nice spring down here as well. And again, I'm looking at Coinbase. We all know what happened on BitMEX. BitMEX just went crazy. The exchange was completely unusable for about 8 or 10 hours of time. So I'm more confident analyzing this price based on the Coinbase data. I think this is the best place to take a look at it. Now let's talk about what happens if we do start trading above this 21 exponential. Where could we go? Where could we go? Well, let's go ahead and look at this from a range expansion. You can see I have my bear scenario. Bear scenario going down to about 73. If we break this lower, right, which we haven't done yet. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. So we were opening and closing down here. We have nice support here. We had a nice spring out of here. We tried twice to sell into these lows, and we had a nice reaction up and out of it. Hit our resistance, which is just further confirming this range that we're in. But if we do start closing below this, well, one, we have our 200 daily, both our exponential and our simple moving averages down here at the 83 to 8600 range. If we start closing down here, then I would say we're probably going to come back down to 73. But now let's talk about a range expansion to the upside. Okay, so if we do start doing some crazy stuff, all right, let's take a look at our upside targets. So we're going to be looking at a range expansion to the upside. That's going to take us up to 11,700, almost exactly 11.7. So if we're bullish, which we could be here, we could be bullish here. I'm not seeing any bullish divergence here because we created a lower low here compared to this price. From here, this is a low. We created a higher low. The RSI maybe possibly created a little bit of a lower low. But at any rate, if we do move up and out of here, catch that and then move up, right? So you'll want to catch the the pullback. It might take a day or two. It may just fly through there, as Bitcoin loves to do. Bitcoin often does not give you an opportunity to get an optimal price. You have to kind of risk it because we don't know what's going to happen here. Right now we're currently trading below this resistance, but if we start closing above it, right now we're at 92.45. If we close above 93, that is a significant sign of strength in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not going to pull out Elliott Wave as much as I want to right now. I'm just saying that if we do break up, more than likely, we're going to be making our way up to 11,700. Now, let's see what that looks like. If I go to a weekly time frame, I'm going to do this both on log and on linear. I want to see what this looks like. Okay, let's pull out this guy right here. We're going to tag it to the top there. We're going to tag it to the top here, and we're going to pull this guy down here to the bottom. So we're going to tag it on all these different pivot points. Okay, so far this looks pretty good, right? Even all the way back in 2018 here at the median, we had our resistance. Okay, down at the bottom of the range at the 200 weekly, both simple and exponential, coincidentally at the time. we have our bottom of this channel. We go up here to the top, that's the top of our channel. We have support at the median of this channel. So I don't think we're going to come back down here anytime soon, back down to 46, but a move up to 11.7, that would take us up and out of this range looking at a log scale. Let's take a look at a linear scale and see what this looks like. Much, much different, okay? On the linear scale, a move up here would be extremely bullish, extremely bullish. I like to look at this from a log scale, but even on a linear scale, let me just move this guy back and let's take a look at this. Okay, so let's just move this back here. Try and get this tagged as well as I can. At the median, we see lots of support. We see a retest here of this median as support. We see a retest here as support. We're currently trading, in this upper range, whereas all of 2018 we're in the lower part of the range. Now, at the end of 2019 and all of 2020 so far, we're at the top of this range. Now, we're consolidating all the way up here at the very top of this, okay, which we haven't seen this happen. Even when we had this big move to 13.8, we haven't seen this happen. So we're currently consolidating up here, and let me just add one data point here. I have to find the right point, so that's my 0. So let's get my 0.25 and change this to 0.1. See where that pulls it. It pulls it right there. I need to pull it just a little bit lower, 0.8. All right, so let's look at this. I'm only putting this in here just for the purpose of visualizing how we have this resistance here, and we're currently consolidating above it. Okay, on the weekly time frame, we're above the 21 exponential on the weekly. We're currently above that, so that's a sign of strength on the weekly. What I see down here on this capitulation that we had on the 13th, I don't really see any bullish divergence. I don't see any hidden bullish divergence either on the weekly, at least from this capitulation candle here. Now, from a bearish divergence standpoint, well, let's just look at this here. So we've got, let me see if I can get a slope on this. We've got this guy at 10.522, this guy at 10.428. So we did not create a new high. We didn't create a higher high there. We almost did, but at the same time, we've got good signs here that we are not creating a significant bearish divergence. If we're taking a look at this, we've got this here. We do have a little bit of a lower high, but it's not anything that I would be focusing on. I wouldn't be focusing on this. The fact that we didn't create a higher high is a sign that there is distribution happening here. And if you're taking a look at a weekly, I would say the important level is 98. I've been talking about 98 from a support and resistance standpoint in all my other videos, if you've been watching those. Support right here, you can see it, clear support at 87.25. We'll call it 87.25. Going all the way back here, right, pulling it straight over, I'm going to go ahead and remove this range because we've been talking about that. This is important support for us, right? If we break down below this, then I do believe we're probably going to make our way back down here to this support block, which is going to be based off of all of these candles where we had opening and closing, we couldn't move above it. It's going to come back down here. That's a 75, right? Very reasonable to expect us to come down here, if we break down below this level. And we're talking on a weekly time frame. I historically have said that quarter 3 is going to be bearish, quarter 4 is going to be bullish, okay? So we're looking for August, September for this to work itself out. And we're talking about candles all the way out here before we finally do see that move to the upside. And I do think that we are going to see it, okay? We just have to be patient. All right, looking at this move to the downside here, projected from the top side up here. What we have down here, we've got the 618 at 63. We have the 50 at 71.50. So, anywhere between the 382 and the 50, I can see a wick coming down here, down to 71 very easily. I can definitely see that happening. You've got all these people, all right? One last point, and then I'm going to go ahead and end it. You've got all these people that are seeing the same things that we are, that are saying the same things that I am, The price is consolidating up here above our support cluster, which is, again, sitting right here at about 87. So the odds are for the bulls, right? The odds are for the bulls. But, I still see this channel that we have overhead, especially on a log scale. On a log scale, that sucker is sitting up there. Right now it's currently sitting at, 10.9. Next week, that's going to be coming down to about 10.875. We could still go up there and still be bearish. Okay, not until we break above this, potentially go up to 13, I suppose. But I do think that we have to have a more significant pullback first. And again, by significant, I'm looking at like 71, maybe 63, 64. Move down to 64 would make a whole lot of sense. That was where we were spending a lot of time consolidating in October of 2018. So to come down there, confirm that as support, and as these weekly moving averages move up, take this a couple weeks down the road, and what you're going to see as this moving average is continuing to move up, there we have it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. A month down the road, we could be at 64. Now that's a month down the road, right? Lots of moves are going to happen between now and then. But if you're waiting to enter, I think that there's a possibility that you're going to get a better entry closer to 63, 64. This could go out a little bit further. I tend to believe it's going to happen sometime at the beginning of August. All right, I think that's all I've got for right now. So again, hopefully this video did help you. And if it did in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And if you want access to our Discord, just throw in a comment in the YouTube channel. I'll be more than happy to get an invite code out to you. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, good evening. Stay happy, stay healthy, take care. And if you're in the United States, have a good 4th of July.